Are there any questions? I hope there are some, because it always adds a whole other dimension to these classes.
I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
Over the last week or so, I've had 2 or 3 dreams in which I'm fighting off this monster or an alligator or something that's trying to eat me, and I have to chop it up and destroy it. And I wake up wondering why I had such an intense dream that I don't usually have. And I have just turning it over to ask you what it's trying to work through me.
There's a simple answer to that, Christine. These creatures in your dream are a metaphor of things that are buried deep inside you, and they're coming up because they're telling you it's time to get rid of them. It's time for you to grow inside yourself, where you have the internal strength to get rid of those creatures that live inside you. Be it an alligator, I don't know, they're just metaphors for negative energies that create fear, that create insecurity, that keep you trapped in the world, whatever the world you live in. And it's telling you it's time to grow and get stronger than that. You have to, in your dream, you're chopping them up and chewing them up and doing whatever you're doing. And that's what you got to do. How do you do it? You got to build an inner life that is strong enough to do it. Without that kind of an inner life, you're not going to be strong enough to do it. And these creatures will always manifest in dreams and life itself, things we're afraid of, we hide from, we need false security to protect ourselves from, some image of who we are that we're really not. But we create that image to protect ourselves from those dreamlike alligators that we are afraid are going to chew us up. And it's not only you, it's really so many people, everybody practically has this problem. And the way people deal with this problem is they build false security. I'm not saying having money and a successful life and a house to live in. Yes, it represents security and it gives you a much better way of living in the world. But, to think it protects you against those creatures that are buried, it doesn't. I drive through the suburbs of Connecticut and there are fabulously wealthy people that live here. But you go into every one of those houses and I'm sure, it's a nightmare of people, the way they live together. And not only the way they live together, it's themselves. Because I've said it a million times, everybody's trying to fix the external world. You can't fix it unless you fix yourself. And this is, to me, one of the most great, profound truths that has come to me over the last few years. If people would fix their inner lives, the external world would change. But people don't. So you have insanity, the alligators chewing everybody up, metaphorical alligators. Mm-hmm. People eat themselves alive and people are being chewed alive by life. Look at Rudy's book. It's called Spiritual Cannibalism, for God's sake, and it's very true. It's all about consumption. Mm-hmm. And eventually we have to absorb, chew up, cut up all of those monsters that live inside us. If we don't do it, that's what we got. And how do you do it? I'll repeat it again. You've got to get stronger and build a system that is capable of doing it. And I'm not talking about becoming Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm talking about building an inner life that is strong enough to be able to transform all of those metaphorical alligators into love and to joy and a lack of fear.
Before they were always in the shadow, and this is the first time they were really in front of me and I was fearless and I could go after them. So maybe I'm progressing a little.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't have to discourse on this any longer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Adding on to that last question, Stuart, when we've developed an inner life to a certain degree, do those fears and anxieties just kind of take care of themselves, or is there further action that we become aware of through our growth that we need to take?
What happens is, Frankenstein turns into this little creature in yourself that you can deal with. You can transform the fear, the insecurity, the everything into an open heart, into balance, foundation, a quiet mind. Understand? So all of the manifestations begin to change. And suddenly we're not living with this person that is paralyzed by, life. We're living with a person who embraces life. Let's life be our teacher, something I repeat all the time. Let's life be something that truly shows us what we need to do to grow spiritually. Not to be some intimidating force that we have to hide, in the shadows in order and think we're protected. I mean, it's like that symbol in Plato's book, The Republic, where he comes out of the cave and opens to the light. And this is what I'm talking about, coming out of that internal cave that people create, that they think by living in that cave, they're going to have some kind of security, and they don't. And then suddenly the way we see the world changes. We can forgive ourselves. We can forgive other people. We can live with an open heart. And of course, look, there are two elements to what Rudy taught and the first one is we're born on the earth because we have to learn how to do this stuff. That's the way we work out our karma, by transforming all of that fear and insecurity into love, into forgiveness, into compassion. That's how we work out karma. We become a child of God living in the world. And it's not just something you memorize from a book, it becomes living experience. It is so integral to your life that you just do it. And to recognize that everything that takes place in one's life is a teacher. You bow to your teacher. You embrace your teacher. You learn from your teacher. Life is the greatest guru. And it is teaching us all the time. And when we arrive at a place where we can do this, the fear goes away. We're no longer having dreams about alligators eating us alive, The fear goes away. Suddenly there's joy, there's love, it's a wonderment, that transformation. But that's essential because when a person undergoes that kind of transformation, they have learned how to live on the earth and they are working out their karma. They don't have to come back here anymore to learn how to live on the earth. And the next element, of course, is the transcendental metaphysical element. of building a system that enables us to truly go outside the realms of time and space and connect with the oneness of the universe. You combine those two things, you have enlightenment. And best of all, you stop living with fear. You're no longer a victim. We're not intimidated by all the bullshit in the world. We have compassion for all the bullshit, because basically we've been through it and we survived it. We've transformed it into a spiritual life. And this is just not intellectual, it's living experience. I mean, if you play music, which I think you're a musician, or you dance or anything of that, if you think about it, you destroy the whole. But when it becomes a living experience, it becomes music that is extraordinarily beautiful. It becomes art that is extraordinarily beautiful. It becomes dance that is extraordinarily beautiful. It becomes life that is extraordinarily beautiful. Does anyone else have a question you would like to ask? And just to top all this off, I think, what more? What, what more can a human being ask for than just being a happy person, living, in life and having transformed all of this bullshit that goes on in the world? I mean, Rudy always said, compost makes the best organic garden. Well, all of that bullshit can make an organic garden inside every single human being. It just depends upon how we use it and what we'll do with it or what it does to us. And then it becomes a horror show. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
That was so helpful, Stuart. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome, Christy. Now apply this to your life. Then you'll really say thank you to me. Okay.
Okay.
That'll be the real gratitude. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Why else would anybody do this? I mean, sit here for an hour and a half, breathing heavy, staring into a computer. I mean, what the hell, They would probably nominate us for the local sanitarium if they saw people doing this. And yet, the energy, the power of this hour and a half is so extraordinary that don't waste it on gibberish in the head. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask?
Yes, Stuart, that talk just now helps so much when sometimes I have people criticizing not being politically or socially involved. And
you just tell them you're more socially involved than they are. You're trying to fix the world. They're all they're doing is moving chess pieces on a chess table. You're fixing yourself. You fix yourself, you'll fix the world. Because you're going to see a whole different reality. People leaving and coming again. Well, you'll see a whole different reality. I mean, I don't know. I used to hear stuff like that too. It totally uninterests me, and I would tell people I'm not interested. You know, because I finally realized that I can't remember. I've said it how many times? I can't remember a day in my life when this world hasn't been insane. Not a day. I mean, I was born during World War II, for God's sake. And then any crazier period in life on Earth. And look what we have today. It's just as crazy with all this shit that goes on in politics and, you know, and it all is based on a lack of consciousness that people don't do inner work. So it's all projections from their brain on the way they think the world is supposed to be. I don't know how the world is supposed to be, but I do know everything that exists in my life is my teacher. How to get closer to God, how to open deeper into myself. You know, I can't fix the entire world. I can fix me. And that allows me to see the sacredness of life, the beauty of life. So people talk to you, don't even listen. You know, I mean, really, don't let it get into you because they're only making it worse. You know, they fix themselves. But I'm not naive. 8 billion people are not going to fix themselves. But then they all have 8 billion incarnations to do that. You know, God is very kind. His people a million lifetimes in order to learn how to fix themselves, as long as it takes. You know, I remember I was standing in Rudy's store, you know, and there was a big discussion going on amongst some of his students about the president and the Vietnam War and blah, blah. And Rudy walked up and with a tongue in cheek, he says, "Who's president of this country?" Yeah. I started to laugh. You know, and it's true, you know, who knows how to, anyway, enough. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, then there will be meditation tomorrow evening. And once again, God bless you for helping me fix me. Maybe a teacher shouldn't admit that, but I admit it. I have a certain sense of humility in myself and gratitude for the presence of every single person that comes to these classes. I need to be fixed also. Doing this work with you, doing these hour-and-a-half sessions is truly helping me to grow, and I have a very profound gratitude for it. So God bless you all. There'll be a class tomorrow. Hopefully I'll see everybody then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Good night, Stuart.
Thank
So
you.
fabulous.
Beautiful.